and we got to give it our authentication. Hello, brothers and sisters of the Briar. We are live on YouTube. I don't know if YouTube will be able to handle this.
I'm just hearing a little echo.
I just cut it out, I think. Are you
All
still hearing it? We should be good.
We're good. Well, I thought it was a good pith. We've now made it official, haven't we? It's a pith helmet matinee that's been released tonight on Professor Jeremiah's channel, and it was a great meeting with Doc at the time. It was good to see it played back and see that when you put it, well, you called it bloopers at the end, or but it was great to see the interaction there on that very first experimental Zoom meeting. Which, having said that, you said, well, why don't we go again? Let's just see what happens. No, yeah. Considering you were out on your own that time and never expected to see anybody, and now we're hoping we might get joined by a few guests that well, anybody's welcome. It's an open door, isn't it? Yeah. But we just sent a few little emails out to impromptu invitation, even if you come on for 5 minutes,
There's somebody other than us watching right now, because I see where you're watching.
Do you call it the CIA over there?
And then it says comments aren't supported on private videos. So I don't know. Well, I'm not sure why that's but you can join us.
I could message you. I've got message Professor.
Yeah, no, this is looking like in YouTube. I can see that part of it. So the bad thing is we did miss a few minutes of our original introduction and visit in our visit with Doc, because we suddenly had that storm that came in, and even right before we went, I had it started darkening and thundering here, which I was kind of glad, because I need the rain for my garden, but we haven't gotten any rain yet, and I need to, let's see. I had a message from Uncle Phil, and I messaged him back. Yes, sir. We are live right now. Three Rivers and myself.
Well,
maybe we'll get Uncle Phil in here, and then it'll almost be a repeat of the original.
Yeah.
But the thing that a lot of people don't realize is we were doing Zoom meetings before COVID, long before most people even knew what Zoom was. We were on and having group meetings before COVID ever happened. And that's why it was just a natural thing once COVID hit for us to just be able to go right into having group meetings. And really, I think it was a good lifeline for many folks during that.
Crikey, yeah. Well, when you said we, it was yourself, Cliff, Wes, Dan Stadpiper, Josh. Have I missed anybody? You were the four musketeers, sort of, with your initiative. You had these get-togethers, didn't you? And then then you started this experiment. I keep getting ding-dings on my phone, which is, oh crikey, it's alerting me that there's a live meeting, so that it's going out.
It's going out
on YouTube.
Yeah, aren't you? You're not behaving yourself.
Pardon? Oh yeah,
you're behaving yourself, aren't you? That's what I was meaning with it. It said that that the comments are disabled on YouTube. Yeah, we're on YouTube, brother.
Yeah. Yeah, there's the pickup. Yeah, I haven't noticed. See, I've just got a picture of yourself that I see there. Hold on, there. But then this time there's the pickup.
There's the Willies.
Yeah.
I really wished I had that truck here. It's just sitting. It's just sitting in Nigeria right now.
Well, the thing is, I keep saying this same, but it's fine. Back in the 90s, early 90s, I was fly fishing, and I came across this rod. American rod, Croix, Croix. Have you seen them? It's American rod. And one of the Croix fly fishing rods. Anyway, one of the adverts was a Willis Jeep like yours with the chevron grill. And the guy was just there, sat on it in his kit with his broad brimmed hat, just tying a fly on, ready to go fishing. And I thought, wow, I mean, fishing's not all about catching, you know, just the fact he's there, he's in the moment, he's just going to tie his fly or make his way down to the river. And that always stayed with me. I said, what? And I'll use that word, evocative picture. And that was the advert. I saw it, St. Croix. Try St. Croix. And it's the rod manufacturers. And I tried to get one in the UK. And I found out that the guy that was dealing with the distribution was working from home down in the south of England. But he was doing mainly sea fishing rods, not fly rods. And I tried to get because I was a instructor, and I thought, well, I could be promoting St. Croix fly rods and maybe selling them, because I was going to go at one time full-time fly fishing instructor, river guide, and I needed another kind of income around it. So if I could have got my own imports on the St. Croix, I'm sure it's St. Croix, STCROIX.
That way you could have told all the students that was the rod they had to buy.
Well, the thing is, only, and I did say only if it was right, because you could buy Hardy rods, you could buy the cheapest around, which a decent make was Shakespeare, and they were peanuts, those Shakespeare, but they had a good blank, good action. They were just not cheap as in inferior, but the furniture on them, like the reel seat and the handle and the rings, the snake guides, they're just, you probably get them at like 1,000 for £5 kind of thing, and you just bung them on. So they weren't most elegant of rods, the Shakespeare, but they were good. But fly fishing is a bit like golf, I suppose. It's it's the not say the bling, but the character of the rod, and the reels. It was like a pipe. You buy a reel like you buy a pipe. It's got apart from functioning, it's got to have those aesthetics, and the rod's the same. And in fly fishing, there's probably Hardy, Orvis, Sage. They're the three, the premier names. Not necessarily the best rods, although you got to go a long way to beat Sage. Sage were the best back in the day, but they also owned a company called Reddington. Now Reddington used to make rods, and they were the same blanks, but they were at about half or a third the price of the Sage. But when I was at the fishery that asked me to go and do their coaching and such, whenever somebody wanted to buy a rod, I'd go with them, so I could teach them how to use the rod to its most efficient. And like, you get strong people, not so strong people, and you got your different strengths in your in the blank, whether it was a sort of a tight or medium or a sort of a bendy blank. But the tip action was the fastest. But if someone was like very strong and the tip action fly out there perhaps too much, I put them onto a medium blank, and it just sort of took the sting out of the power. And so they get the presentation. Oh yeah, St. Croix. Does it not come up? Not found it? Or are you still sending out emails?
Well, I was sending out a couple more emails here to folks.
Right.
Uncle Phil did say he would be with us in about 30 minutes.
All right, he's probably getting dressed.
No, he said, I think he's on his drive home. So.
Right, yeah, that'll do. So the last time he was, the thing is, it's not. I keep going back to when he was with the washing machine, on that Zoom meeting. Well, I could hear that gurgling. I said, who's got the gurgles? He said, it's the washing machine. Washing machine. Yeah, he turned the camera around so we could see it.
Well, I was thinking, let's see, I'm sending out a few invites. I'm sorry, folks, if I seem distracted. I'm trying to invite a few old folks in here that we hadn't had with us in a while. Trying to think here. Oh, have you heard of True Temper?
Yes, Tampa.
They make fly rods.
Oh, no, I'm looking at St. Croix. I was right, they're still around, but the guy down in the south of England, he's still selling spinning rods. He's not, he doesn't seem to have the fly rod, and that's the one I wanted to get the, be able to take over so I could actually distribute them.
Well, my grandfather's was a True Temper, and that's, they during WW2, they even made the main machete. That was like the machete you wanted, because those.
Oh, really?
But yeah, the fly rods are good rods as well. Well, we're just enjoying the smoke, and if anybody out there who's watching wants to join in, leave me a message. We're seeing that Pipe Ninja said we haven't aged in 5 years, and Hardcrackers just popped in and said, hello, Steve, Professor Cliff. Ron, I sent you a link in an email if you'd like to join us. I know we would love to have you join us in here. It would be excellent.
Oh, I nearly left the meeting. I was just trying to, I was just trying to take out the chat because it's obviously not coming through on mine. But there you go. But I can message in apparently. Who can see your messages? I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna thought so you've not aged in 5 minutes since we saw you. The pit helmet match.
You're not aged in 5 minutes.
Well, I'd have to argue with that, to be honest.
Are you wearing the same shirt you were wearing that day, or you had a different one, didn't you?
Oh no, it probably wasn't this. This is one of my casting shirts.
Okay. And I'm. It looks like I'm wearing the same one, but it's when you've got like 10 of these.
I'm trying to think. There was a character. Yeah, whoever you ever saw him was wearing the same outfit. Yeah. But it was all different ones.
This is my summer uniform.
What are you smoking in that, Professor?
Cades Cove Cavendish.
Oh, well. Not the original.
The original Cades Cove?
Oh, isn't that, it has a number now?
Oh, not that I know of.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of something estate, aren't I? No, missed again. There's an old tobacco you sent me, and it had a name, but he said nowadays you buy it, but it's a number.
That's Black Cordial.
Oh,
and now it's Z50 or Z150, I think Z50. But Black Cordial, but it used to be Country Estate. That's what you think.
Yeah.
Yeah, used to be Country Estate. I'm just looking here I thought I had old Kaki's email. It didn't pop up. I'm sure I've got it, but I was just going to send him an invite. This is spur of the moment, folks. So I guess we should have planned this, and we're probably broadcasting over other people's Friday shows. I don't know. I don't keep up with it. So I'm not meaning to step on anybody's toes here and pull their audience. Sure, everybody's kind of got their own world here.
Well, when you said it's not planned, your very first experiment wasn't planned. You just came on, and then a whole few of us kind of joined in. And that went on, and that started bleeding over quite a few people, apparently, but I wouldn't know. But Friday nights, yeah, used to be the night for live, but usually later than this, aren't they? I think, because they're mainly from your side of the Atlantic.
We've got 9 people watching us now. I don't know. You've got all of your computers all turned on right now and streaming the.
They've probably had enough of us, to be fair.
They probably have. I mean,
yeah. Perhaps they're using us just to fall asleep, like a white noise. Well,
that's like an older gentleman here in the community. I ran into him in the grocery last week, and I was chatting away with him, and he's like, well, you know how old I am, don't you? And I said, 94, or I said 95, because a year ago he had told me he's 94. And he looks at me shocked, and he's like, no, I'm about to turn 93. And then I said, well, you told me when you were tilling our garden, and he came out with his big tractor and tilled up the garden, and I didn't know he was in his 90s. And I said, you told me you're 94. And then he got a shocked look and said, oh, well, I was telling you my brother's age. I forgot. And I guess it's okay to add a couple of years. But I mean, the man doesn't look like he's in his 90s. He looks like he, early mid 80s. But for the most part, he gets around good. He said his legs don't cooperate with him, but he's still got a sharp mind. And wow, if I'm and has some hair on his head. So if I can be at that standard when I'm in my 90s, I'll be very happy.
Well, you've seen what you're like in your 80s.
That's true. I do know what I'm like in my 80s.
I wonder if his brother was adopted.
Did I did have that in it. that might come up in the next one.
Well, I don't know if you see, Shane might be looking in right now. You've sent him an invitation, haven't you? But he doesn't. Oh, yeah. The thing is, if you're not used to Zoom, the link that's there, it's just a matter of following the links, isn't it? There's nothing to be worried about. I mean, there's no cost from our perspective because you're the host and you've been kind enough to sponsor it.
Well, I haven't seen the bill yet, but
pardon? See, I could have said
the post.
Yeah. Oh, don't go there. Happy days.
I was just sending them all to Doc.
Yeah, he did well with us, didn't he? He looked bright and sparky.
Oh, well, I mean, you commented on his beard, and his beard is nice. It's kind of one to be envied. I mean,
it was trimmed to the nth degree, wasn't it? It was perfect. I said, who does your barber work? He said, I do. Oh, there you go. But what a wonderful musician, because he used to put up videos, playing on the organ he had there. And he actually did a request for me. I think it was Amazing Grace, I remember we were up in Scotland and we were caravanning, and I was a lot younger then and driving, but we had my mum and dad were with us, and we had a dog called Mandy, and it was a ragtop Series 2A Land Rover we're towing the caravan with. You talk about adventures. And we got to a place in Scotland called Pitlochry, and it must have been Glasgow fortnight. There was nowhere to, all the caravan sites, camping sites are all taken up. And while my father was in the shop, the reception, this lady said, Scottish lady, oh, you need somewhere to put your caravan. And he said, yes. He says, well, if you want to park it on our lawn, you can do. There's a bit of a steep hill with a hairpin, and there were yay!
Hey! Hey, it's a grand old time.
And then there were 3.
Oh.
Phil, what? I've got to say, what? No washing machine.
I know it's all look.
Sophisticated.
I had to call my agent just before I come on to see what the fee was going to be. But I might even waive it.
Good man. Good to see you, sir. Yeah. I mean, last time we met was actually in Chester, wasn't it?
We did, yes. Had a lovely day. And Professor, I haven't seen you in like a decade.
I know, it's been a long time. I was kind of surprised when I noticed when we did the 50th episode of Pith Helmet, and I was like, that has been a long time that's passed. It's almost a year and a half since we did the 50th.
Yeah, I would have thought it's close to 2 years.
Well, it was I think it was November.
Oh, was it November?
2021.
Blimey.
I mean, that's wild. Or I say November.
I understand since I last spoke to you, Professor, you've formed a new republic somewhere. Have you smoked every blend yet?
Not yet. No.
Oh. I was hanging on.
I've still never smoked. We talked about this a little bit in the interview with Doc. I've never smoked Prince Albert.
Oh, you never smoked Prince Albert? Is Doc a fan of the Prince?
I don't know. Doc Hatfield said he had smoked it before. Yeah.
It's very mild. I don't think you're missing a great deal.
It's just a thing of to have smoked it. It's a classical blend.
I think we should smoke a blend that's been around. It's been around, what, 100 odd years?
Yeah. Like I used to smoke Carter Hall, mostly in Nigeria. It's a nice little inexpensive drugstore blend.
Yeah.
Use it down. It keeps getting louder. So how have you been?
I've been very well indeed, thank you. Yeah. Can't complain. It's nice.
You've got a new channel that you're doing book reviews on, right?
Well, I've started it, and they were ones that were going to go on my old channel, and I thought they just don't really belong. So I thought I might start a new channel, but I don't.
Oh, put them on your old channel. That's what I always say. It's your channel. Nobody here.
I know.
Somebody criticized the Bible studies that Adam and I were doing, and I said, I didn't sign a contract with the YTPC. I just started a channel. Oh, now who do we have?
And your channel is called Professor Jeremiah. It's not called Pipes with Professor Jeremiah.
Welcome, Alex. Alex has got a YouTube channel, but no videos yet. Alex is a pipe smoker and fly fisherman. So I use a left hand then, but fly fisherman. And so Phil and a professor. So welcome, Alex.
Hi, thanks for having me, guys.
Yay.
Nice to meet you.
Well, we've corresponded so much on emails, haven't we, Alex? And
we have.
So it's so good because I said next time we have a Zoom meeting, I'll give you a heads up. And he said, and here you are, so wonderful. Yeah, but no pipe. Yeah. Or is that because you're inside?
Yeah, inside. My daughters are sleeping and my wife's running errands, so it's at least enough time to jump on a call.
True, yeah. Well, I have dispensation. It started when I was writing the book, that in the office here, in the study, if you like, I was allowed to smoke, so never really relinquished that. But I can't smoke anywhere else.
I moved in here during the pandemic, and I've just started smoking one day, and nobody ever said anything, so carried on.
I should try that.
Oh no, no, much better staying to.
We just moved into our house too. Yeah.
So how have you been, Alex? You're getting close to doing your first video. This might help, mightn't it?
Yeah, I've thought about it. Potentially Riverside on a trip that I would be doing locally, and I just haven't bit the bullet yet. I think that first one's the most tough.
But don't pick a day that's bright, middle of the day, and no clouds and very little water in the river. Doesn't quite gel.
Yeah, right.
As I found out a few weeks
ago. It made
ago.
me feel better though.
Yeah. Oh, it's warts and all, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, appreciate sending out the invite, and it's a pleasure to meet everybody.
Well, there's 4 of us in the room here, but apparently there's 1,000. How many, Professor, watching online?
7.
Seven.
We're going up and down.
See, my arithmetic's not very good. Yeah, we had a magician on once.
Wait, we're live. We're actually live now.
No. Did I say no? No. And yeah. Well, going back in the day, and we were just reminiscing that Professor was experimenting with this format, and he was sort of checking all his lighting and audio. Next thing, Phil appears, because it, like tonight's come up on my phone as a live stream. So Phil joined in. I'd come back with the dog. I said, who else was on that night? There was already a few. The doc was on. I think there's a few drifting in, and it ended up quite an evening and going on for quite a while. So we ended up, I say if it's the right terminology, bleeding over at other people's usual live podcasts on a Friday night. Well, Friday night here. But there we go.
I remember the New Year's Eve one where you started with Glenn and then you hit me and then you hit somebody. Did you? Who was it?
I think you were the first to come in when I did the very first live. And we were doing lives really. I won't say we were the first, but we were right around the top of that. I was saying to Steve a minute ago, we were on Zoom. There we go. There you go, Steve.
Yeah, the Confederacy is now joining us.
We were on Zoom really before, anybody else was really getting on Zoom before the pandemic.
I hope he's got the grey uniform.
Yeah, my first ever use of Zoom was one of your meetings. I didn't even know what it was.
Oh, really? Wow.
Ron. Greetings, sir.
His audio still now he's connected.
Here we are.
We've just been singing some good old rebel songs before you turned up. You missed it.
Frogs next door.
Well, you were next door. We'll let you off then. Yeah. You got an honourable mention in the film tonight, Ron.
Oh, really?
You did, yeah.
I heard my name. Yeah, I remember hearing my name.
Yeah.
Have you brought, I'm really behind, gents. Have you brought back the pith helmet?
We released episode 51 today.
Oh, blimey, well done.
Well, it wasn't the pith helmet. It was just, as Professor puts it, a welfare check-in with one of our YTPC members, Doc Hatfield. And it's sort of turned into, it wasn't like when we had our questions, Phil, we go through, it was just an ad hoc chat, little stories. And then as it just went on, it got, cascading along. Then other people started joining in, some of the old crowd, so it became a thing. So Professor said, let's put it up as a pith helmet. So he's done his wizardry with the editing. You were appearing in it, by the way.
Let me guess, in some song.
Kind of. No.
Those are funny.
It was after the
somebody had to take that little toy away from you. It had,
Yeah.
When all you have is a hammer, the whole world looks like a nail. I think applied to you in your karaoke.
Oh, well, there were some videos I never released that would have been great, but
I think, did Phil just say if I had a hammer? It sounds like a cue for a song.
How does that song go, Steve?
I really don't know. It was a terrible voice in this here. The thing is, Alex, have you any songs you know, Alex? Any nursery rhymes or something you'd like to contribute? It's like a thing when you hit your first Zoom meeting, you have to have a song.
I wasn't prepared for that.
I am joking. You don't even have to sing, and the professional put music to it.
Yeah, I'm learning how long the hazing process is for this first time meeting.
All right. Okay, right. Well, it's so good to see you. So you won't have had time to go and wet a line then?
I'm sorry?
You haven't had time to go and wet a line, go and have a fish?
Not yet. I have a trip in about a month on the Estable in our northern waters, so that will be the first time. So we just bought the house, and we have a 10-month-old, so the time has been limited these days.
Be on the back burner. It'll be next year now.
Yeah,
at least.
Yeah. I always say that. Oh, next year.
Probably.
Yeah, but I was just tying some flies earlier today, so
getting
prepared. Yeah.
Did you get to tie the Peroni yet?
I haven't been able to find the cobbler's wax though. There's one retailer online, but I'm still on the search for it. Just
go to a shoemaker, a cobbler, and it's just bits of black cobbler's wax. It just pass it through. I don't know. See, we have people go like Timpsons, and every town's got a Timpsons, and they'll re-hill your shoes or whatever, and sell shoe polish and shoelaces. So people like that will have them. They will be around somewhere. But if you get some of this commercial stuff, it's so hard. It's almost like glass, and you don't want that. You want a little bit, not like fudge, but something that's got a little bit of give in it.
So mine's kind of a variant.
You can heat it up just a little bit, can't you?
I wouldn't try. Well, I wouldn't. Well, yes, it would go viscous then, wouldn't it? But you don't want it too much on. You just want a coating, because in this instance, it's a primrose thread. And with the black cobbler's wax, it gives like a green hue coming through from the base. And it gives the thorax and the body such a wonderful appearance, especially on an emerger. And the hooks that I use, Alex, the B100s, 14s and 16s, they've got a slight curve in it, and they're ideal for your emerger patterns, a Klinkhammer pattern, if you like. Would be good.
I've been tying them up with olive thread, but until I get the cobbler's wax.
Yeah, I suppose you could use like a felt tip pen. You'll just brush it on a little bit, maybe. Might be an option. David,
try that.
We've got another guest professor.
Yeah, welcome, David. You got a falcon, don't you?
Thank you. I do. Yes, I do. Thanks for letting me in.
When I was editing this video, and in the intro, when it comes up with you sitting in your motor and smoking your pipe, I always want to reverse that image for the American audience, so it doesn't look like you're sitting in the passenger seat. He always looks like he's in the back passenger seat of his car talking. When are we gonna get a good car chat out of you, Phil?
Well, I don't have much call for car chats anymore, because I'm rarely in the office now. I could go outside in on the road and do one, I suppose.
Yeah.
But no, if I'm very honest, I'm sort of pseudo-retired from the channel these days. I did a video that was overdue for Yanez, but kind of lost me mojo not in a bad way, but after 7 or 8 years of doing it.
Well, you were on there with Sancho, wasn't there?
Sandro, yeah.
Yeah.
And Yanez, he made us some pipe tobacco out of Cuban cigars. Talk about luxury, chaps. Yeah, that was good.
I'm pairing it up with a decent malt, I believe.
Have you got some?
Decent malt?
No, I thought you had Yanez's tobacco.
Oh no! I was watching you. I was watching you stream.
Oh well, Mark and I just go quiet because Sandro knows everything about whiskey, knows everything about tobacco. Just let him carry the show.
Mm.
You know, he's got all the culture, the sophistication, and we just sort of balance it out.
I see David there with his falcon. It always reminds me of Jack Hargreaves. I mean, obviously Phil and I know about Jack and the professor. He was a guy very much a stalwart supporter of the countryside, whether it be fishing, shooting, making wicker baskets, even brooms, all kinds of things. And he always smoked his falcon. And it was it brown, wasn't it, Phil? Like a brown. Gordon, you got one there?
Brown stem falcon. Exactly what you've got there.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, is that brown? Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, David.
Yeah.
Respect. Now, does that have a dental bit in it? I could never. I don't think Jack Hargreaves would have a dental bit. But I've been looking at. Oh, that's slightly bent. Yeah.
Yeah, slightly bent. He did clench it, didn't he?
Yeah.
I doubt he did it then. Yeah.
Well, that's in one of his videos. It's an interview with him, and he criticized Americans, saying like how Americans, they just stick there in their mood and they're talking all about. Maybe he's real self-conscious.
Enough clouds of smoke to. Yeah.
Phil just moved his halfway around, kind of that half American, half Brit. So.
True.
Well, wasn't that Phil when we were in Chester? We met that girl.
Yeah, the Chicago lady that owned the cafe.
Lane, Laine. Wasn't that a coincidence? And she and Phil were chatting away there like old friends. It was great.
Yeah, that was a good day.
It was, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think you hung around several hours before I got there.
Yeah. Well, you were there with your number. Was it number 2 or number 1 son?
Yeah.
Number 1. Yeah, Callum, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And where did he end up, in York?
No, he went to Essex in the end.
Essex. Oh, it's more handy for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, it's they're all a couple of hours away.
Yeah. Do you know, going back, yeah, far enough away.
Oh, it's not going to be a sudden quick trip home on an evening.
Yeah, for washing and ironing. Yeah, happy days. But going back in the day, Professor, we did, well, all of us, right, the 3 of us were doing tributes to Jack Hargreaves, didn't we? It'd be mentioned here, mentioned there. And on one episode, there was this chap came on and, oh, wow. It was his stepson, but it was Johnny Scott that was on. Right. And you were playing that intro that came in with Out of Town. And Johnny Scott, he hadn't heard it, but he was saying all that horrible thing. There used to be a singer back in the day in Britain called Max Bygraves. Right. And he did some kind of vocal thing to this tune, and it was, not good. But the actual tune itself is good, on the guitars and such. It was lovely. But he made a comment, and I didn't know who it was. And Professor said, "Have you seen who's been on?" And it was his stepson. So it would have been. I have commented with him in the past because he's got a channel of his own. But
bad stuff, doesn't he? Yeah. I think he's in control of his dad's sort of DVDs and stuff now. His stepson.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Well, he got a lot of.
At least he didn't come after us for air. Episodes of Uncle Jack.
For revenues. Well, there's two. There's David Knowles, who was the cameraman, and his stepson also had quite a lot of information as well, and back films. So yes, but it's good. Well, I've got a collection of them. I quite enjoy now and again delving in.
I send all revenue inquiries to Steve.
Yeah,
you know,
and I pass them to Phil, and Phil sends them to Essex.
I let my agent deal with all financial matters. Yeah.
Well, yeah, last time this came up, I think Professor said he's still in Nigeria, if anyone needs him.
Are you're that prince that keeps wanting to give me all your money, aren't you? It's
Yeah.
you.
And get the Nigerian astronaut back.
Yeah, yeah. All I have to do is give you my account details, apparently, and that's it.
Yeah, we'll forward millions of dollars into your account, and you can keep 10% of it.
Yeah.
I told you I've been in an internet cafe before in Nigeria and heard one of the Nigerians there at the cafe holler out, "I got me one." It's great.
Most of mine go in the junk, but you do get the odd one, and they're quite creative, the headlines they put on, but it's always Mr. Three Rivers coming to me. Hello.
I thought that's what you told me to refer to you as.
Well, thank you. You got the Mr. right. Well, mind you, that's going to a whole different ball game now, isn't it? Mr., Mrs. What's the other 12 you can have?
Now he's trying to get us in trouble.
Yeah. We'll be cancelled before the night's out.
Yeah.
It could be 14 now.
That's all right. The professor started a republic. I've heard this. It must be true.
Well, my dachshund, he runs the People's Republic of Dash.
Dash.
And,
Yeah.
He's a little communist, I think.
Do they still exist? Communists?
Commies or the dachshund?
Oh, right.
How are the hounds?
They're good. Everybody's asleep right now.
Good. I always have to be careful how I ask that.
And there's the Husky Bulldog and the Dachshund.
Yeah.
And
where's Trooper?
Trooper's under my desk.
Right. Guarding your cigars.
Yeah, and she'll stay there for hours, not even moving.
Yeah, that was another thing with the dog, wasn't it? When you were feeding Trooper the biscuits, you wait, and then you give it command, it take it. We were only talking about this the other night, and I said, just hold the biscuit there again, Professor. So dogs like that, Professor's holding the biscuit, and I said, sick 'em. And Doc, his face was brilliant. He loved that one.
I don't think we were live when this happened, but I'd gotten some dog toys, and I got 3 of them. One for Scout, the Husky Bulldog, and one for Trooper. And I sent Steve one for Steve. I think he gave it to the dog though. But
yeah, exactly.
But when I opened up the box, I was going to give it to both of my dogs, and I pulled one out and unwrapped it and handed it to the dog, and they got into a ferocious fight. And Steve and I are together, and they're just fighting over the toy. So finally, I showed them there's a second one. Y'all don't have to fight over it. And to this day, they won't have anything to do with it. They won't touch the toy, nothing.
Is that ever since they found out that the biscuit was stuffed up its anus?
You're supposed to put peanut butter up its bum. And the dog chews on it and the peanut butter comes out.
It sounds lovely. Yeah.
Did you ever put biscuits or peanut butter up for Molly?
9 slicks. No. No.
That's clearly a Mississippi thing. Yeah.
It must be it's yeah. Stop now.
Yes.
Well, guys, I should probably get back into work. My official lunchtime smoke break is over. So I appreciate you letting me jump in here. It's been fun.
Hey, David, good to see you.
What were you smoking?
What's in the
I
pipe?
have, well, it's a walnut match. So it's supposedly a recreation of the old, walnut tobacco. So it was pretty good. I've got it from matches, so no longer available as, in walnut, but the match, I got this a while back. So pretty good stuff.
Okay.
Oh, nice to see you, David. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Nice to see you guys.
Join us.
God bless you guys.
See you, David.
All right.
Nice to meet you.
Bye-bye. Nice to meet you.
Alex, can I ask you, have you ever been over to this side of the Atlantic?
I have not.
Mm.
Unfortunately, my wife, when she was in college, studied abroad in London, and I was on the west side of the country in the United States in California that same summer. So I never made it over, but I'm hoping to soon. So we're
Really?
talking about a trip
Now, where are you currently?
in Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah, southeast Michigan.
When you said up north, I wasn't sure. It didn't sound Canadian to me.
Well, it's funny because we're in a suburb of Detroit, and we're actually north of Canada where we are, because Windsor is south of us, and we're getting right now. It looks like smog outside from all the wildfires.
Oh yeah, I've seen that on the telly. That's dreadful.
Yeah, so it's the air quality. They're telling us not to stay outside too long, so it's pretty bad actually.
They're getting their revenge on you guys for all that acid rain in the 70s.
Yeah. Yeah, it's coming back to us.
Yeah, that's it. The chickens are coming home to roost. They got a big fan and they're just blowing it south.
Yes. Unfortunately, a lot of the fires are so north in Canada that there's really not a lot of way for them to address the fires locally,
Really?
and there's not a lot of green space for the fires to stop. So it's been challenging.
So the people living up there must be really suffering.
Yeah. Are you guys familiar with Backcountry Pipe? Mark, he lives in Nova Scotia. That's where it all kind of started originally, and he said that it's been pretty big. Oh, that was like one of the first ones. Yeah, he did with his
That lad of kids
cigar out on the
everyone
wrong
told him not to
side.
smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he goes shooting and fishing, doesn't he? And sometimes going back in some of his older productions, his time flies.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. I enjoy his channel very much. So when you come over
I've
to
connected with it.
Alex, you're saying you may come over to this side. Whereabouts in the UK might you be visiting, or be a sort of a tour?
Yeah, it'd be a bit of a tour. We're hoping, waiting for the kids to be a little bit older so that they remember and can enjoy it too. So maybe in the next year too.
Good thinking. I know, is it Gary Olden in the Way channel? He's coming over here in about September. And sorry, Gary. Yeah. He's coming over in September on a trip. And I think he's going to spend some time in Shropshire, actually in Shrewsbury. So September time. So he gets closer. I might just, make sure he gets my number if ever you want to meet up for a swift pint and get a pipe.
I've been trying to meet up with him too, because he's in Chicago, which is about 3.5 hour, 4 hour drive. There's a time change in there too, but I'm sometimes in Chicago for work, and we're hoping to meet up.
Oh, that'd be marvelous.
Before the summer's over. Yeah.
Excellent. You know, you talk about 3 or 4 hours. 3 hours gets me from sort of North Cheshire across the Scottish border into the southwest of Scotland, and I think that's a long drive. But for you, that's nothing, is it? I take it.
At all. We'll drive down to Georgia, and that's about a 15-hour drive. So that we do that a couple times a year. I don't know if you guys can hear, but our little one's just waking up.
Oh,
so
yeah.
hate to call it, cut the short.
Yeah, dad duties. Oh, Alex, so good that you've come on board, sir. So great to see you.
Yeah, I wanted to come on and say hi and introduce myself. So I appreciate the invite.
Yeah. Oh, well done.
Yes. Well, it was a pleasure to meet everybody.
Yeah,
Pleasure
good
to meet you, Alex.
Yeah. We'll talk to you soon.
Good. Okay, Alex, I haven't got your new address. Will you email it, and I'll send you some cobbler's wax over.
Oh, perfect.
Happy with
Yeah,
that?
you don't need to, but I appreciate that.
I've got some. Yeah, well, it's they last for quite a while, But if you're having difficulty, there'll be no trouble. Just drop me an email. I'll send you some.
Sounds good.
Excellent. Good. Okay, Alex.
All right.
Bye for now.
We'll talk to you guys. All right. Bye now.
Hi.
Oh, that was good with Alex, because he hasn't got he's got a channel, but he's not done any videos yet. So he's been on the cusp. Oh, someone upset the professor, Ron.
Yeah.
No, I'm here. I dropped my tap to the bottom of my lighter, so I had to.
And as if by magic, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
The cobbler's wax, it's for time flies. Well, it's coating the thread just to give it that hue. So there you go. Sorted.
That makes it fairly buoyant too, though, doesn't it?
Not really. It won't harm it, but it's just so thin. It's to discolor the thread. I'm looking around to see if I had some. It's a primrose kind of yellow thread that you wrap around the thorax and the body going down. Then you coat the wax and then thread it back up again to tie in the wing and the legs. Well, on that area there, you've already coated. So as you've tied it back up, the original primrose, and you've sort of stroked it in on the ribbing, so it gives that the segments of the body as well. It just gives you that green hue. And whatever it is, whether it's that or the rest of the combination of the fly, it's all almost irresistible if the trout are feeding and the grayling. And I've caught sea trout on it as well, on the River Annan. And it was just a fish that was rising. I kept just casting in front, then it took it, and it was a 3-pound sea trout, which some people may say is not a big fish, but it's my personal best. And it was a beautiful fish, and it fought so well and went back, no issues. So there we go. But it's just the colorization or help with it. Have you been out and about, Phil, in the countryside? How's the dog?
Oh,
here we go.
Sandro's coming on. The dog is very well, thank you. He's a little bit lazy.
Know the feeling.
There he is.
Sandro.
Hello, Maestro.
Hello, everyone.
No, my goodness. Twice in 1 year, Sandro, this must end.
This is a nice surprise. Good to see everybody. Good to see Three Rivers, Steve and Professor.
Oh, Sandro, so good of you to say so, sir. Good to see you.
How's everybody doing?
Doing very well. Very good. It's good to see you as well. It's been a long time. We just, Steve and I were chatting and said, well, let's go live. And so we decided, and we thought we'd just see who would pop in at the last minute. And there we go.
That's amazing. I finished my dinner and I just washed up, and unfortunately, no whiskey tonight because I gotta go into hospital on Monday early, so I have to yeah, just water, no alcohol for a few days before I've got a medical exam. But other than that, I'm feeling okay, and everything's okay. Everything's okay. Yeah.
So Sandro, is it about 20 to 10 there?
Yeah,
Have I got it?
it's about 20 to 10, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was a much needed thunderous day full of rain because we had very hot temperatures here in Italy for a couple of weeks. So we needed to cool down, and I don't even have the air conditioning on tonight. The first time in about a fortnight. But
100 degrees outside, plus whatever the heat index is.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone that has air conditioning in this country, but there you go. There's always that one day of the year you could do with it.
Yeah, the UK, you had a recent spell of warm weather. I saw.
Yeah, we did
friend,
a week or so ago. It was rather
Yeah.
hot.
Yeah.
Not as hot as last summer. I mean, last summer we got up to 39 degrees one day. It was
Oh
it was,
my gosh! Wow, that's like being in Italy or Spain.
yeah, but nobody even, most houses don't even have a fan, Sandra, let alone air, you know.
Wow.
Well, we can usually push it to a one-winged blue bottle. And that just about does it.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'll go back to sleep. More drugs.
Does anybody there have attic fans, Phil? You know what that is?
What, in England?
Yeah.
You mean ceiling fans, no?
Well, no, an attic fan actually, like, you open your windows and it'll pull the air from outside and then takes it up through the roof and out. So you have like that circulation.
Our houses tend to keep the cold air in the winter and the hot air in the summer. They're very, very well designed if that's what you want.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, tonight I have some a very nice blend. I don't remember who recommended it to me. It's Robert McConnell's Old London.
Okay.
I don't know if you probably can't see that, but it's a huge flake. It's just, if you unroll it, there's two strips that are about half a meter long, basically. And I put it in a jar, which I'm not seeing now. Here it is here. It's gorgeous. I had some years ago, but I forgot it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's well, I've broken it up mostly, but it's really nice and dark.
Is it Virginia? What is it?
Yeah, it's Virginia. It's Virginia. What else is it? Orientals, Perique, and Cavendish. It's a great blend. It doesn't have any Latakia, but it almost feels like it does. I guess the Orientals,
Yeah.
But I got it in Berlin, and 100 grams was about 21 euros. So reasonable compared to Italian prices.
Yeah.
I also picked up these, in Germany. I know many of you have been there, and they've got these house blends. This one just says number 45, so there's really nothing to see on the can.
Yeah.
But I always go to the same place in Berlin. The sweetest guy owns it. He used to work at the shop. And it was such a small shop because the shop is actually the foyer, the entrance, the reception room to an apartment building.
Mm-hmm.
And there was an old guy who owned several apartments in the building. who loved to smoke his pipe. And so he convinced everyone in the condominium that they would save money on communal costs if they let him use part of the foyer to open a small pipe shop. And they all agreed. So when people want to get into their apartments, they've got to go through the pipe shop today.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
It is one of the most unique things in the world. And the guy who used to work there, I did some concerts in Berlin. That's how I found out about it, because the violinist who was performing one of my works is a cigar smoker. So he went there to buy his cigars. And the sweetest guy helped me. And now he owns the shop. The young guy owns the shop because the old man is really, he's getting up there in age and he just didn't want the business anymore. So he sold the business to this young guy who's got 109 different house blends, all made by Kohlhaas and Kopp, Dan Tobacco. And this number 45 is a flake, a gorgeous flake that has it has Virginia, Perique, Oriental, and Tonkin bean. It's gorgeous. I never tried it before. It's really beautiful too. And this was only €9 for 50 grams. Nice and dark, and I'm just really, oh, fantastic. Burley. I think there must be some burley because I'm getting a burley, chocolatey, nutty. Anyway, so those are the new tobaccos I've been enjoying recently. I had another bowl of Yanis's cigar cake, not the one we recently reviewed, but the first one. And it continues to get better and better, I must say. You know,
I haven't imbibed. I think last month I didn't smoke a pipe at all.
wow. Okay.
I've trapped a nerve in my back and shoulders, and I've laid up for nearly 3 weeks.
Mm.
And it's only the last week I've just sort of can move around again.
Was it a sciatic nerve, one of those?
Oh, it's the sciatic nerve's down lower. My mother had that pain. I don't wish to have it, but based on the howls of agony she would
that's tough.
give out when she suffered with it. But it was right next to the spine, under the shoulder, went right down my arm to my hand. At first I thought maybe I'm having a heart attack because that, men get these arm pains. So I rang up, I actually rang the doctor. And she said, "Oh, what kind of pain is it? Is it shooting? Are you sweaty? Are you this, that?" No, so no, you're not having a heart attack. And she just hung up.
Oh, she knew you then, Phil.
Yeah, you're fine.
Sandro, that tobacco, is the Turkish leaf forward in it? Is it Turkish Orientals? It is, because Robert McConnell, is that what you said?
Yes.
The only one, I've never smoked any of their blends, but my smoking shop does have it, and generally in loose form, but it hasn't got that old London. I've just checked. But every one of them does seem to be quite a lot, Turkish seems to be the staple tobacco in these blends that my smoking shop have got.
The only one I've ever had, I think, is Scottish cake or Scottish flake. One of them.
Scottish flake is very good. The strange thing about this tobacco is on the back, they say pebble cut. There's nothing to do with pebble cut. These are long flakes, thick, long flakes. So why they write pebble cut, I have no idea. And then they write selected red mottled leaf from Carolina, Oriental leaves and Virginias all combine to form the framework for this blend. They're still calling it a blend on the tin here.
It's you know, Peter Heinrichs have got those really long flakes with their golden flake, which is basically Orlick's golden slice, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah.
But it's enormous.
Yeah. The only
It
thing,
reminds-
there's a little bit of
reminds me of those
Louisiana
little-
Perique added, so.
Yeah.
This is a great
Right,
tobacco though.
excuse
For
me.
20 euros for 100 grams, it's a great,
Yeah. They do have good prices over there.
it's a, I brought back more than half a kilo. I could have got, Wolfgang told me I could have actually brought a kilo. But,
Yeah.
but I get to Germany once a year in any case, so next time but Berlin is it's such a tobacco friendly city. There's people smoking cigars everywhere, and
Yeah.
you see a lot of people with pipes and what have you.
Yeah, Germany's kind of the sort of last bastion of good smoking in Europe, I would say.
Yeah, in Europe, for Europe, I would say the best, but nothing compared to our.
Spain's not bad.
Spain is good. In fact, Yanis.
Better for cigars
and
than pipe tobacco, but it's not bad, you know.
Yanis is going to Valencia. Going to
You were
Valencia.
saying that pipe tobacco in Spain's very inexpensive, isn't it?
Very, yeah.
Is it just that they don't have the taxes on it, or okay?
Because
How much are y'all's taxes in the UK?
right, so right now 50 grams is nearly £19, so $23, something like that.
Okay.
But what's I going to say? Now in Poland, when I get pipe tobacco there, when I'm over there on work, it's about 10 pounds for 50 grams. And they put their taxes up enormously recently, because it used to be about £6 for a tin.
Okay.
And Poland's funny because pipe tobacco is everywhere. Like in the little convenience shops, I see Peterson pouches, but I've never seen a pipe smoker there. But yeah, I see pipe tobacco everywhere. And snuff as well. So,
Wow.
Well, I thought that was interesting in London, and I was almost a little nervous when I was at the British Museum. You know, I filmed a video there, and when I'd been at the British Museum before and I would sit outside and smoke my pipe, I'd see a lot of cigarette smokers walking around. But that day that I was filming, I hardly saw anybody. And so there was a part of me that started wondering if they'd put a ban on public smoking or something. But nobody ever said anything to me, and I didn't see anything. And I ate at a little, kind of like an outdoor cafe within sight of the museum, and smoked there, and nobody said anything. But
it's the vapes are really popular. I think out and about on the street, I think you see more people vaping than smoking.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone's got those electronic things, right? Those electronic.
I still go.
I still I have to say, I don't get it. The only time I've ever smoked those, I did get some of the vape pens a couple of times when I'd had to rent a car for a trip, and I figured I could get away with smoking those in the car. And it really wasn't that I had to have the nicotine. I'm so used to smoking, I'm used to doing something while I'm driving. So that's why I got them, was just because I'm used to having a pipe in my mouth when I'm on a trip.
Yeah. Yeah.
You say you're in Poland there, Phil. I know you used to go to Poland quite regularly, didn't you? And in fact, you did a live stream from Poland once, going back a few years.
Yeah, I did. That was my first trip. It was all new to me then. Now I just
Yeah. But you think, correct me if I'm wrong, I know Condor is owned by the Japanese now, but
can't buy it over there. I know.
No, but don't they produce it in Poland?
Yeah. Condor is owned by Japan Tobacco, but it's made in Poland.
Gosh.
And it's only sold in Spain, the UK, and Ireland.
Amazing.
Spain. Last time I was in Spain, I just bought like a kilo of corn dogs. It was like €3 a pouch. It was just
Wow.
insanely cheap. I said, I'll take what you have.
Yeah.
He says, really? I have 20 pouches, 60. Yeah, done. Here's your money. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sandro, I've not talked to you since all the lockdown and stuff's over. I mean, that's not had any effect, or do you see a positive or negative effects as far as everything opening back up? As I'm thinking more like your concerts.
Yeah, unfortunately, the music situation from a commissioning point of view is still very, very slow. My students are loyal. I got 12 new students this year, and so that's fine. And you know, all things considered, my teaching activity keeps me afloat. There could be a couple of possibilities at the end of this year to begin working on something for performance in 2024. But there's just very little money around. You know, it seems like the COVID, you know, the COVID monies went to, you know, at least in Italy, you know, they went to all the criminals, basically. I hate to say that. I know we're live. I shouldn't probably say that, but you know, you find the number of Lamborghinis and Ferraris and all these luxurious things have exploded, but there are very, very few new music concerts going on anywhere.
Well, that's how Steve's doing his renovation work.
Excuse me, gentlemen. Fine, mate, yourself.
Poor Steve.
You know, at least people are out and about, and the restaurants and cafes are full. I still see the odd person with a mask, strangely enough.
Well, we're on a Zoom meeting with a professor at the moment. Do you want to join? He sent you a link. Are you got a pipe going, or you're still not imbibing?
Probably talking to Shane.
But
Yeah.
Phil,
Oh, no,
what is your
I'll send you the link,
situation now? Do
which
you
is
have a
my
prognosis
last
about your
email.
recovery?
Sorry, I sent you what a professor has sent you.
Finish this call.
I'll mute him. There we go.
It's just going to heal when it heals, mate.
I
It's
see.
a lot better than it was a month ago.
Okay.
A month ago, I was basically strapped down to a wooden platform, so I didn't move, and it was dreadful. But
Did they give you strong medication?
it didn't work because of the trapped
Oh.
nerve, because the medication couldn't travel where it needed to.
Mm-hmm.
So it just didn't work. I'll be right back. 5 minutes.
Hey, we got to behave ourselves now that an Irishman getting ready to come in. Is that why you're leaving?
Shane.
Wow.
Wow, matey, what you been doing? How long is it since I've seen you?
Oh,
You're muted. You joined the audio. Can you hear? Find
it looked like he unmuted for a second there.
Oh, we can't hear you, Shane. We can't hear you. If you can hear us, there'll be a join the audio button or unmute. There's a button.
Maybe he has to click accept.
Maybe. He may have to go out and come back in. Sometimes that happens if you've not been on YouTube on Zoom for a while. Sandra, do you have any new compositions that you've posted on Amazon? Or I don't know if you were the one putting them on Amazon. Some of your stuff is on Amazon because I've listened to some of your music there before. And I wanted to say that if people might not be aware that you have stuff on Amazon. So
yeah, no, nothing new. What is on still is still on. But we'll see what happens. There are a couple of opportunities that may pan out at the end of this year, so
Okay.
we'll see
Did
what
you have
happens.
any new compositions that you did during the lockdown, or?
I sketched out about 3 or 4 in preparation for eventual commissions, but they remain just, let's say, drafts, let's say rough ideas, you know. I
Okay.
still write things down when I think of them, because otherwise if you forget them. It's kind of like, it's like a poet or a writer. When he has some good ideas, he just takes his notebook and writes them down and stores them away, and you know. But
Sandro, just picking up on what you said there, a couple of videos back, I was talking about George Harrison's family in and around where we live. And he went to his parents on the edge of town here. And as an experiment, apparently, he penned in this composition, and it was the Still My Guitar Gently Weeps. And it just sort of hit him there and then. And what a classic that has become.
yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but it's that inspiration, isn't it? You know, as a musician, you pick up on something, a vibe, and you've really got to put it down.
Yeah, if you don't write it down, you will forget it. I've woken up in the middle of the night sometimes when you may have even had a dream, or you may have had some idea. It doesn't necessarily need to be a melody. If you're writing a melody to a text, then the text will certainly have a great impact on the melody, at least from a rhythmic point of view. But you definitely have to write it down, you know.
You know, Sandro, as a classical musician and composer, I'm going to mention, you know, one of my favorite musicians all time is Jimi Hendrix.
Of course.
Yes. And yes, he was a poet. He made his guitar do amazing things. But there's a composition he did, and it's The Moontide Turns, 1983, A Merman I Should Turn to Be. And it's about a 15-minute. And if that's not a classical composition, I don't know what is. If ever you get to hear it, you may have heard it.
I have heard it.
Yeah, it's amazing, the different stages it goes through. It's so evocative. And that probably came out in about 1969, but it's still an amazing, you know, it stood the test of time, for me anyway. It's just a classic.
Every genre's got some classics, no matter what the genre. It could even be something you don't like, but
yeah, that's right.
You know,
well, you take Lennon and McCartney.
In every kind of music, I think.
Well, you say Lennon and McCartney, you get a 4-string, you know, a quartet, string quartet, and play that musical composition, forget the lyrics. It's just amazing. You know, a different tempo, maybe, you know, slowing down. It's just perfection. Shane, are you with us?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No.
So Shane, I hear that you've moved to Wales because there was an Englishman that is giving you a lot of trouble in your previous location.
Yes, well, you know, I'm on the run again. Oh, so you can hear me now.
Shane, you've lost weight.
Is there another pandemic going on?
We're getting ready for the next one.
Okay, that's good practice.
Yeah,
good to see you all again. Yeah.
What are the poor people doing today, Shane? Yeah.
That's a great question. Yeah, I really got a bad dose of it. Like, I got engaged, and I'm getting married next year to a wonderful woman.
Oh yeah,
and she's organising the whole thing, and it's absolutely fantastic. But when anybody ever asks me about it, it's like I've been diagnosed with something. They're like, "Have you heard about Shane?"
Yeah.
What is it? It's like marriage. It's like, what? I was only talking to him yesterday.
I love it. But you've lost. She's feeding you up, Shane, mate. You're like twins now since I last saw you.
Yeah. Well, it's all paid for. Like,
No, come on.
I
The
can
camera,
mute
the
Steve.
camera puts 2 stone on you. Everyone knows.
Yeah, no, but seriously, you're looking good on it, Shane. You really are, mate. Really are. You look,
well, I've never been fatter and I've never been happier. So
yeah.
let's put it that way. And I've caught a few fish as well in Wales.
Well, you've got your own river at the bottom of the garden. Well, bottom, you're up on the top of the hill there, aren't you? Above the River Dee, the Hatfield of Dwee.
Yeah, my garden goes right the way down to the infamous River Dee. So I feel like the Lord of the Manor now. It's a cravat I need, you know, not a hoodie.
Well, you've got a big acreage there around the house, haven't you? And you even get the council to come and keep the gardens and the flowers right. It's
That's
amazing.
right. Yeah. It's a lovely spot. We're very lucky. We're very happy, and it's great. It's great to see all. God, how much has changed since the Zooms over the COVID. And I remember talking to you specifically, Professor, about in the initial stages of it. I was sitting in my house, and it was just me and the dog, and she wasn't allowed up in the bed, and she was great, but she had her own bed in my room, and like a dog bed, and how it brought the goodness out of everybody when like the world, we didn't know what was going to happen, really, did we? And how much has changed since speaking to you all from then till now. It's absolute pleasure just to see your faces again.
Oh, and you, Shane. Oh, mate.
It's been years.
Yeah, it really means that. Yeah, I know. But anyway.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Shane, the police did ring me. Did I tell you?
Oh God. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think, can we say this? I mean, I'm looking after. I'm looking after his shotguns at the moment because he's moved from England to Wales, to another country, so he's got a whole different thing to go through. And part of it was, I'm one of your, is it referee? Is that the correct term?
Referees. Okay, so basically, Steve is like a reference to like, because he's a shotgun holder. I had to put my guns in a licensed holder's cabinet, so they were locked away. But Steve was phoning me up. Oh yeah, it was just about the guns, was it? And it's like, no, it's actually going to be a reference about, do you think this guy is suitable to carry firearms? And 25 years. So Steve gets me readily worried, going, I wouldn't give that guy a fucking catapult, right? Are we going now?
You're not far wrong, because he did ring me, a Mr. Roberts from Denby.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, you know, I said, we've been friends, I think it's like 14 years, and we were acquaintances before that. And he's a true friend, and you don't get many of them in life. And you know, he taught me to use a shotgun, and I taught him to fly fish. I said, and you know, I trust him with my wife, but I wouldn't trust him.
Of course you wouldn't your wife, but I feel like there's a price coming on here, Steve.
Yes, but I wouldn't trust him with my dog. And he says, and he starts laughing. He said, "Oh, that's fair enough." And he's still going to give you a license.
But he's Dave, I haven't had my license through yet.
But it was a nervous laughter he gave, I got to say.
Okay, that's. I was wondering why there's helicopter going over here.
Yeah, he probably called you, Steve, for a 2-minute conversation. Knowing you kept him on the phone for an hour and a half.
Hour and 3/4.
Yeah.
Right. Well, he came from Denby. We were talking about fish and chip shops in Denby. And I said, well, there's one at the bottom of the hill there near Townsley Builder Supplies. Oh, yeah, that's good. He said, but the one at the top of the hill is really good. So we're getting about fish and chip shops around North Wales. So it did go on for a while. But yeah, he was fine. He was crying a bit when we finished. Don't know why. So where's the beautiful Mrs. Shane at the moment?
Shema, or Mrs. B2B is up with in Chester with which is only about 20 minutes from us. One of her uni friends is back from Australia. So I've gone up to meet them in Chester, and obviously I'm like kept indoors like a naughty fucking dog. But yeah, no, they're great. I went down to meet some friends of mine this evening, and it was lovely. And yeah, so the whole wedding is a massive thing as well, and we're getting married in a country hall in Wales, which has a chapel attached to it. It was owned by the managers of nonetheless the Prodigy, and so that's a very interesting place. And the bridal suite's bathroom has a life-size tortoise of one of the, is it a tortoise? One of the Doctor Who robots.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the Dalek. Yeah.
The Dalek.
Is this Van Gothman?
This is in, yeah, just outside it. It's actually in Wrexham, but it's just on the border. The chapel is in Wrexham, and the hall is in Denbighshire, which is Clongotland, and that derelict was used as a prop in one of the early Doctor Who films, movies, and it's like amazing and crazy, and I think it just sums us up really. You know, we survive the marriage, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
So
mate, I'm so pleased. And the card you sent us, a beautiful. It's captured you both so well. And on the beach, which beach?
That was the first weekend we met, and we took a picture on the beach, and we both loved the beach and the dogs and all that. And we were away camping in our camper vans, and I said to her, you know, as a chat up line, would you like to come back and see my VW camper van? And she said to me, would you like to come back and see mine? That was it. Love at first sight. Own VW camper van. So that was it, you know.
And
so,
she's got dogs as well.
And she was walking her dog, and I was walking my dog back to my van, and that was it. And then she says, "Do you have a name?" She said to me, "Oh, my van's called Miles. You know, oh, that's a cool name. You know, you do Miles in a camper van." And she's like, "What's your camper van called?" And I said, "Penetration Palace." It didn't. Sorry, Professor.
Shane,
you might want to put X-rated on this, Professor John.
This is a
cancel us now, yeah.
Steve, we were already at an age restriction.
Oh yeah, age. But Shane, you're just an old romantic.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
You should write some poetry related to Keats.
Yeah. So anyway, there you go. So it's a bit of fun, but actually all those little bits are true. So yeah. So it's very good, man. It's like so nice to see you all again, and it's such a it seems like it never happened. It was that the whole COVID thing, like it was mad, like, you know, and it was great chatting to you all, and kind of got us through it into a sense, you know what I mean? And yeah, so yeah, it's like really nice to see you all again. And is this
Jane, sorry, Jen, I have to ask you a question. You said to me it was originally going to be a 2-year engagement, yeah?
Yeah.
Which is not now. It's been like we've lost 12 months. But you gave me you said to me, organise me a stag do in Scotland fishing for salmon. So if that's still on, I've got to work.
Still on for the March swim, yeah. That's
March would be the best thing. So now we've spoken.
Yeah,
and
it's an open invitation if everyone wants to come. We're also this is a thing happened, right? So there's also one in Barcelona from the 1st to the 3rd of September, and it's just like it's an open invitation. There's about 10 of us going. But then there's one in Dublin as well. So I think there's about 4 to 5 stag do's coming. Emma doesn't really get her head around this. Like, she's tried to organise one night in Liverpool, but you know what I mean? I have to come ends, you know.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, you said you're watching a video with George earlier. George used to play football.
A tonic. I was just watching it now, and to see George out of hospital and to reminisce and to see Molly working, and you know, you forget about life gets busy, but you forget about things, and then you sort of see that's what matters, and what a working dog she is, and what a way down by you just come along where they came in with all their diggers, and now they seem to make it better, the paths and all that. And
Yeah.
sorry, intruding on your.
No, I was going to say, well, George, Sandro, you probably, he played football for Everton.
Okay.
George, but back in the 70s. And he was telling me that there's a group over there, from Ireland, who support Everton, and they call themselves the Irish Toffees. There's a huge amount of them. And the guy that runs it mainly lives in a town called Newbridge, which is right on the River Liffey. And they've invited George to come over and meet them. Wow. And George has asked, will I go with him? And I've got permission off the boss. And it's right on the Liffey, fly fishing. And we have fished there back in the day, George and I. So we're looking, see, this is what was clashing. It's going to be around May. So straight from the ceremony, if you could get a taxi to Holyhead.
I've got guys from Scotland with their bikes, with their shotguns. All I have to do is go in and do 3 ideas and I'm off.
Yeah. So they say. Yeah. Happy days. Yeah. But I'll keep you informed on that just in case.
There's a lot of days in May, but yeah, we're 3 days. We got 3-day events, so yeah, I'm gonna have to be there for that one, Steve. Unfortunately,
yeah.
But when I'm walking up the aisle, I'll be thinking about you.
Can you work your marriage plans around? Steve?
Well, hold on. I'm going to be at the wedding. I will be there. I've got an invite. It must have been Emma that sent it.
Yeah, but you got this RSVP thing. I haven't.
Yeah, I'll be wearing waders.
Has a future bride met Steve yet?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's been here. Yeah.
Yes.
And she's still going through with it.
Yeah. Do you think he's moved to Wales?
Well, she says,
obviously that was after she met you.
Yeah. Likes Molly though.
More comfortable, and I walked down in my wading gears, and she says, "Do what you like" to me. I says, "Okay, I'm going fishing." It didn't. After that, I moved to Wales.
Oh mate, I've got to work fast now.
Steve and Janet are going to be at the wedding, and Emma's loves them, and you know, it's kind of like, I don't have many friends, but I tell you, the ones I've over a lifetime, I can count on less than 10 fingers, and that's something. And I'd love to say you're one of them, Steve, but you know.
Yeah, I know. Not even on the peripheral. I'm going to call Alex and see if we can arrange something for around March. I'm asking, yeah.
That I'm really looking forward to that one, and I might have 1 or 2 rods with me. Jay might come, and another guy, which I think you'll get on great for. I don't not to labour on the point, but when we go away, we've been fishing a few times with George and Steve, and we're privileged to. Steve's an amazing river guide, angler, knowledge. He will put you on a fish, teach you how to fight fish, and even like not fish himself to get you fishing. And it's a tremendous generosity he has when you go fishing like that. A great guy to fish with. And then George obviously plays 120 something games for Everton's first team, so Premier League, huge footballer, you know. But like when we sit down of an evening meal, we'd often have the crack, as we call it in Ireland. And we'd be saying to George, and he'd be like, he's like, oh yeah, and I scored this goal. And I was like, and me and Steve would be like winding him up, saying like, yeah, but George, it was only Everton. It wasn't like a Manchester United or a Chelsea.
Don't.
Have that fun with George.
George takes it in good faith. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's a true blue, is George, that's for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. Played for the shirt for sure. And you know, it was just great that sportsmanship just to go away for a weekend. And if you catch a fish, you know,
it's a bonus, isn't it?
Isn't it? You know. Oh yeah. So any of you guys over there are up for a stag do for an Irishman, and you know, run it past the missus and get the flights booked.
Shane, come say hello. What? Come say hello, Shane.
Oh, I'm in trouble now.
Yeah.
What did you get?
There, just come in a bit closer.
He's there.
No, but he can't see you. You have to dig down. There you go.
Hi, Shane.
It wasn't me. I didn't do anything.
That's what you always say.
Oh.
Shane, they're starving without you delivering their groceries anymore.
Oh, really? Well, don't down to Wales.
He used to put, this is the COVID times, yeah. Oh, yeah.
For a mail order cigarettes from the
It's
COVID. Remember that?
Basics, like, and I used to throw chocolatey eclairs and everything into it. Like, you used to go a bit bananas. Yeah, it seems like a lifetime ago, all of that, doesn't it?
It was Shane. But isn't he looking good?
He is, yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
It's all right,
So sexy.
I can't see you there, Janet.
No, she's
I'm hiding now.
just, oh,
You're
come here.
in there, yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, sound.
So, Stephen,
You're
you're
ready
going
and say, oh. Happy days.
Steve, are you going to be going to Ian Walker's thing next month?
Well, the week before is a Glossop Pipe show,
Right.
the Sunday. And I thought they were going to amalgamate the two, but they're not. So I think I'd like to go up to the Glossop Pipe show. And then we're sort of looking at it, aren't we?
Yeah.
But it's got to be right for, we won't be leaving Molly at home. So the weather's got to be right. We don't mind the rain, just as long as it's not too hot. We will. Well, are you going?
No, I'm just.
No. It's
I can't drive that far without this nerve pain come flaring up.
oh, right. Oh,
So I'm
yeah.
like limited to 10 minutes in the car at the moment.
Wow. Well, it's more likely than not that we will be there. But we have something called, we don't have a WhatsApp, we have a WhatsApp. And like today, the WhatsApp happened. They're closing the school because the boiler had gone berserk, and all they got was boiling hot water coming out the taps. So they closed the school. So we went to pick the kids up. They've been with us. So anything can happen at any time. So that's a priority. If we get the WhatsApp, then everything goes out the window. But yeah, the intention is I will be going to, I'm taking George. There we go. George is now smoking. Well, we may have seen on the video, Shane.
Seen him on the video, yeah.
He's smoking a pipe. Yeah, smoking condo. And he's on about coming up to the Glossop Pipe show with me. I'm going to take him up there. So
Steve has this bad influence effect on everybody.
I felt so guilty as well, because I said, well, that'd be better for you than the cigarettes. He said, I don't smoke at all now, or I didn't. I thought, oh.
You know, you started him on the.
Yeah, he's just smoking at all. Try this, George. Oh, this is nice.
You started him on Commodore, blimey.
Well, no, I started him on, oh, crikey, my brain. I'm on, the tablets are already going in.
Andor.
Bosun cut plug. I gave him some of that, and he liked that. And then when we went fishing, I gave him some Condor. In fact, I left him a packet. So
Yeah.
when we finished the day's fishing, he's got a packet of Condor.
Straight
You're
out of the
on 2 packs a
hospital,
day now.
Steve's got him smoking.
Yeah, I know. I said, you make me feel so bad now, George. I didn't realise you'd given up. Oh, yeah, but this is nice.
Yeah, you look quite content there, I must say, fishing with a pipe and catching a few.
A few roach. You got a couple of nice rod, and there's a big carp kept swimming around. And I thought I had a tension, and the rod just bent, and it went, and it snapped on the hook length. And the hook length was only £4, but it just snapped it. So I think that was the carp I'd been
Big
fishing
fish.
with luncheon meat. Yeah, couldn't do anything with it. Tom. So there we go.
Steve was trying his best to catch an eel, but he wanted one for supper. But
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, no.
he would have needed some of Phil's skills there to poach one.
Phil Skills. There we go. Phil Skills with eels. Yeah.
Got to get out the night before if you want that.
Yeah.
Somebody was telling me they'd caught an eel on the river here, and I was thinking we need to try the one where you talked about the cheesecloth. And what were you were putting worms in it, Phil?
Not cheesecloth, like thick cotton wool. Yeah, like a sheet of it, and you thread the worms through it, and basically, sometimes the eel would sort of try to get the worm and get their teeth snaggled in it, and then they just sit there. You don't have to do any work, but
I don't know how legal it'd be here, but it'd be interesting to try it on the river that we have that flows through.
I think it's an old poacher's sort of trick, because they didn't do it for sport; they did it to eat. But
Yeah.
nowadays, I'd just rather, ledger for them. But
Well, where Shane is, by the way, you heard of the Pontycilleth Canal Bridge, the aqueduct that goes up from Clongowne.
goes over the top,
yeah. Well, if you come further to the west, there's the viaduct, isn't it? So you're not too far from there that goes over the river.
Yeah. There's the highest aqueduct in the world, which George Telford designed, and we looked at actually buying his cottage, but it was kind of, you got to drive through somebody's driveway, but he's given that house to build it, and it's an absolute, they call it locally, the kids call it the river in the sky, or the stream in the sky, and it's absolutely a phenomenal piece of engineering for the day. It's die straight. It's still going today. It's probably about 6 feet wide of water. You can kayak across it. There's canal boats that go across it, and then from that you can see the viaduct which the train comes across. So when the kids come down here, or whatever visitors come, and they're like, so that's the aqueduct, and yeah, that's water, aqua, and then they're like, and that's the viaduct. Yeah, that's a way, like a train or something. And then they're like, so what do cars go across? A bridge.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it's absolutely, it's a World Heritage site. Actually, it's a beautiful place. We got the River Dee, and it's absolutely, like, for the first time ever, I'm just going to settle here. I've no intention of really residing in Ireland, and again, but it literally is, you hop in the ferry and you're back in a few hours, but it's like, yeah, it's something else. But yeah,
some useless information. Thomas Telford, who built the aqueduct there.
Mm-hmm.
George Telfer is related, because a place called Langham in Scotland on the Esk, that's where Thomas Telford, his name was actually Telfair, but his parents were illiterate, and when they're doing the birth certificate, it came over as Telford. And there's a small museum up there in Langham, and so our George is distant relative to Thomas Telford.
So does that mean he's written out of the royalties because somebody couldn't spell?
I wouldn't know, but it's a fact. It is a fact. Yeah.
That's something else. Yeah. It's something else. It's some piece of engineering. I mean, you get tourist buses coming up here and all that just to see it. It's actually, and actually the aqueduct, I walked out, and I'm not a particular fan of heights. It's not a fear thing, it's more a vertigo thing. And on New Year's Day morning, I dragged them out of bed, not literally dragged her out, and we walked into the middle of the viaduct, and I knelt down in a puddle and proposed to her. And yeah, so creating memories around here, you know.
Yeah.
But
Is that where the blue plaque is now, Jane? Is there a blue plaque
that's the one. Another good man down, it says.
We have the maestro in the room. He could write you a, little, some music.
Wedding march.
Wedding, yeah, a little wedding march music.
That'd be great. Who's the maestro?
Sandro.
Sandro.
Excellent. Yeah.
Apparently he does like a 95% off YTPC discount. That's what I heard.
Let's go. And you do with something
You're
like
gonna have 1 bar for that. 1 bar.
1 bar. Run to the hills while you can, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna have to dash.
Do
Well,
what?
it's lovely to see. I'm gonna have to dash away now.
All
It's
right.
lovely
Okay,
to
Phil.
see you all.
Phil, it is great to see
Likewise.
you, brother.
Yeah, we
Great
need
to
to
see
do
you,
this
Phil.
again.
Yeah, we do. We need to get back together.
I was shocked when you sent me a Zoom link. Did you mean it for me?
We've all had enough decompression now. We were on Zoom so much and shooting so many videos and stuff, and now we've finally taken a breather and are ready to get back to it.
That's it. All right. Have a good evening, all.
Take
All
care.
right,
Great to see you, Phil.
Feel better. Feel better. Feel
Good
better.
luck for the big day, mate. All right.
Look after yourself, Phil.
You too, Steve. Cheers.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you, Phil.
Well, earlier I was smoking some Svenborg Danish mixture.
Oh, nice.
Have you ever tried that, Sandro?
It's a Cavendish blend based, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Cavendish. Now the other one is an English blend. I've got it in the sarcophagus. I can't remember what its name is,
Mhm.
but I switched now to Sunset Rum Sutliff blend.
Wow. You guys are spoiled in America. You really do have an unbelievable choice of tobaccos.
Oh, we really do. When they first started putting up some of these restrictions, I thought we wouldn't be getting any real new blends, but that never seemed to stop it. So they keep coming and they keep them going. So
Yeah, on our Sunday night Zoom, we are all salivating when Ron holds up these huge bags of tobaccos. Look what came in this week. He's always full of, he orders them by the pound, and yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right.
sugar bucket flavor. I've never even heard of that.
It's the match sugar.
It's just a sample.
Yeah, this luxury pack, or the luxury pouch, as Kane Rod calls it.
Well, I mean, if you might as well just go all in, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I thought I had another jar left, and so I hurried up and finished what was left in the jar so I could get the new jar. And I looked through my cellar. I was completely out. That was the last jar, so I had to order some because that's one of my daily. I got to have that with my coffee. Riggs or
Rambling Jan said, sorry, gentlemen, couldn't make it. I'm currently out fly fishing and about to light up Professor Jeremiah's gift to me. The Uno
Oh,
blend.
wow. Yeah.
Life's a
told him
bitch.
he could still pop in for a bit out on the river. But
I'm not jealous at all either.
You've got your own river, Shane.
I know, but there is other rivers,
Yeah, there is. There's always a river somewhere. Oh, by the way, before I forget, Ian Walker was asking about you, how you were.
I remember, yeah.
Up at the Glossop. Yeah, it was nice.
Oh yeah, give my regards. Yeah, I
I
always
certainly
beat the
will.
horn going past his boat, even if
Yeah.
it's 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, he appreciates that.
I'm sure he doesn't, but I find it hilarious. He's a good, yeah, no.
Steve made it sound like you practically live in a park.
Yeah, it's actually, it's what happened was there was this farm. I bought the farmhouse, and another farmer bought the farm and sold the farmhouse off. And then this has gone back to the 50s. Years later, the local council bought the farm to make it into a park for local people. Like, it's got a full-size football pitch and all that, and it's got like the neighbors, it's a petting zoo, so the neighbors are guinea pigs, and there's 2 goats in there, and they've given them all Welsh names, which, like, I find it hard to get my head around, so I've renamed them all. And there's one guinea pig, and he's in like a really nice pen on his own, but he's got long black hair, so I've called him Lemmy. And he's on his own because he fights with everybody else. So I'm thinking Lemmy from Motorhead's fitting there. So yeah, and then, but it's all kind of like a walled farmhouse on about an acre, and it's absolutely, it's the location, like it's a full renovation job, but it's absolutely tranquil. I've put the camper van down there. I was doing a bit of work in it, like cutting weeds back and all that, and I fell asleep in the back of it, and just for a snooze on last Saturday, and I just woke up to the sound of bird song. And you're in the middle of the park. It's absolutely, like, if you're ever over, come and see me. It's just such a special place, and we really got lucky with it because it's a national park. They couldn't put a for sale sign up, so we just stumbled across it because of local knowledge. And then and Emma lives down here, and I'm living. We're living together now in Emma's house. So and we're doing this place up, and it's like, yeah, it is really somewhere special, and the forever home. So yeah, so a funny story was the local council. You pay a council tax over here to empty your bins and stuff, and stuff like that. And you can actually, if you buy one of these rundown properties, you can declare it as uninhabitable. So for 12 months, you don't have to pay a council tax, which will add up to a few £1,000. Yeah. And so I put the council aren't very quick. So he phoned me this morning, and to make an appointment, usually, to come out and view the property. And if he decides it's uninhabitable, well, then he'll sign it off, and you don't have to pay council tax, etc., for 12 months. So he phones me up this morning. He says, Shane. I says, yeah, that's me. I says, it's John from the Wrexham Council. I thought, here we go. I said, hi, John, how's it going? He says, I've been down to look at your house. And I says, yeah, it's got a good front door and a back door, hasn't it? And he's like, yeah, it's a bit of a mess. He says, we won't even need to take a look inside. We'll just write it off for 12 months.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah, that was a gift. But we're renovating it. We're using all local tradesmen, and we're using local Welsh slate. You can get a composite slate for the roof tiles, which just doesn't look right. And it's not even an area of it. It's a World Heritage site. So we're trying to be as sympathetic as possible to it, but it's a lovely spot, So yeah, if you're ever over in North Wales, look me up. We'll smoke a pipe and go fishing.
Are you back on the pipe, Shane? Look.
I am. When she's out, I am.
Yeah.
No, they're all still there.
Special occasions.
Special occasions. It's a bit like that.
What's the age of your house, Shane?
1860.
Okay. Wow.
Like yeah, she's 1860 Welsh stone cottage, and a Welsh stone farmhouse really, and it went through the Victorian period then, and then they put red brick, which they done a lot in the UK of, which was to make the front of the house look more modern, like a Georgian house. So, and that's where the word facade came from, a front, right? I've learned this as I'm going along. So you put red brick in front of it, but the whole house is very long, but it's only like one room wide sort of thing. We're putting an extension on the back now. Well, there is an extension on the back, but we're rebuilding that. But again, it's like to make it look as you approach it very bigger and wider than it actually like was. You know, in a modern house, you'd have like 2-3 rooms deep. But yeah, so it's like, but it's a fascinating, and I want to do it so sympathetically. I actually bought one of those servants' bells as the doorbell.
Oh, come on.
Oh, that's great.
So, yeah, just so like having all the mod cons like Wi-Fi, color TV, and running water in there. We're not talking only Neanderthals, you know what I mean? Tell you what, I'm even going to do. I'm going to get heating in. So, you know, but yeah, so it's like it's a lovely sympathetic restoration of an old property, you know. So yeah, we're
Well,
quite
to me, an
enjoying it.
older house a lot of times has much better bones to it than something you'd buy today. And like this
Oh,
house, this was built in 1870. And
Oh.
if you offered me a house built in 1970, I'd still much rather have this because it's a lot more solid construction.
Absolutely, that's the same thing, right? The survey guy comes in, right, and there's like literally a hairline crack, and I mean, like you know, dried spaghetti, that wet, and it's running down about 6 feet of the top floor, right? And he's like saying, "Yeah, that's like subsidence." And I was like, "So okay, so he puts that in the survey, saying like, yeah, it's got a bit of subsidence." So I'm like scratching my head, going, talking to another engineer, and says, "It's taken 200 years to get this with hairline crack. Like, is it going to fall on my head anytime when we're in bed?" He's like, "Not for another 200 years." So you know, it's like, yeah, it's totally like that, you know. But it's an amazing journey in the history, and the more people come out, we got people. They give us photos like the aerial photographs when they used to do it with helicopter. I say, "Oh, one of those. You can have it if you want." But now it's so easy to do it with a drone. Like, but like there were original photos, and there's a bit of history about the place, and you know, and the local people are so nice, and you know, and we're kind of like saying what we want to do, and just sympathetically do it. And you know, and there's a couple of people down the car park. You've got to pay a couple of bucks like to park there, and there's a couple, you know, that you know maybe aren't well to do, but they come down with their disabled grandmother or whatever, and I've just said to them, "Look, just park in our driveway, and don't ever pay for parking." Just, and you know, they're so grateful for just so little things like that, you know what I mean? It makes you sort of feel part of the community, and they're welcoming you too, because there's such a community spirit around here. It's like it's something you can't buy or move into, you know, without being accepted by the locals. And you know, they really are. Like, you walk through the estate here, like, and you see kids' bikes left out in the lawn overnight. You know, you wouldn't have seen that in Mornington or Manchester. They just rob them, you know. And it's a lovely vibe, if that's the word, you know. So, but if you're ever over any, I mean that. Look me up. We're taking down, smoke a pipe under the D, and Steve, you know, we've got to get these crew over here, have a few pints.
Well, the professor will probably have some non-alcoholic cider.
We can do that. We can do that. We call it lemonade.
Yeah.
All right. Listen,
Oh,
I've got to
mate.
go. She's, I have a couple of things to do, but there's Weedner.
Oh, Tweed. Oh, God bless you, Tweed. If Molly's downstairs, but if I said Tweed to her now, her ears would be up. She'd be looking.
Give her a quick whistle there and watch what happens. So.
Tweed. Tweed. No, nothing.
No, you need the whistle. But yeah.
Oh, mine's in the bothy.
Right. She's living her best life. Guys, great to see you. I've got to go.
Shane, you're looking fantastic, mate. Great to see you. Thanks for coming out.
For sure. Like, how often are you getting back in these regularly, or?
Well, just hanging out, and we just decided we'd go live. So we don't know. We might do it again soon.
Brilliant. I mightn't jump in on everyone, but send me a link, and it really was great to see you guys again. All right,
Shane. God bless, mate. Take care.
And there he is with the sample pack. Take care. Bye.
See you, Shane.
Yeah.
Bye.
Well,
what fish are you fishing for? Trout?
What in the D? Trout, primarily grayling and salmon and sea trout.
Oh wow.
We had a situation going back about 10 years where the native brown trout population did diminish somewhat noticeably, and within 2 years the sea trout population increased. Migratory sea trout coming back, and it would have been the brown trout, maybe in competition with other fish, not enough food source, whatever, have migrated out into the oceans, because genetically it's the same fish. If you get a sea trout stay in fresh water for any, maybe it stays there, the food's there, etc., it's river of birth, then they will go back from that silvery sea trout cosmetic to your brown trout, your typical brown trout. But yeah, it's a good healthy river. I went there a few weeks ago. We were doing a little tour in North Wales, and Janet said, you can have an hour on the river, and it was so hot, the river was right down, but it was still so good to actually get the pipe, walk along the river. I saw some northern divers, I saw dippers, just the wildlife, and it was just lovely. And dragonfly. But there, the fishing was non-existent. There was some salmon par, and if I had cast and they had taken the fly, it would just distress them. So another day. If it got back in the evening, it would have been fishable, and it would have had. There's loads of fly life coming up. Mayfly, you absolutely typical mayfly coming off. But they would have been probably laying eggs, the females anyway, in the later evening, and you would have been getting a spent fly on the water, and the fish would have been coming from wherever they've been, looking after themselves during the day, coming out and feeding quite, so energetically, without fear. And that would have been the time to put a fly, artificial amongst them. But I tend to go dry fly fishing, Sandro. Oh, by the way, congratulations, Inter Milan. Another championship. That's your team, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You might get Lukaku there again next season. You may have to pay a bit.
Inter had every opportunity, and
he's a funny kind of player. He does well for you, and he does well for Belgium. Yeah. But he didn't do well for United. He didn't do that well. He did well for Everton, actually. He was there on loan at one stage.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. When who's the Belgian manager? Martinez.
Yeah, Martinez. Yeah.
He was manager there at that time, I think. And Martinez played for my. I haven't got my cup. Oh, yes, I have. He played for my true team, Chester, at one time. Martinez. Yeah. Back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you invited Shane along. You got him on your list before I got him on, Professor. But I tell you, well, he's looking well, isn't he? I didn't understand some of those Welsh words he was using. That's the only thing. I have to look them up. Happy days.
No, my family's Welsh, so I wasn't too familiar with some of those either.
Are they? Well, do you know I'm through an illegitimate birth? My side of the family is related to Owain Glendower, was the last Welsh-born Prince of Wales.
Wow.
His family, there's a family called the Leightons, and they have an estate on the Shropshire border in Wales, and they are directly linked to Owain. And it was one of the gentry there, but my great grandmother impregnated, and yeah, so that's where this line came from on the the Jameses, if you like.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. But they were childless. Who was Madonna married to?
I couldn't tell you.
Right. Well, whoever he is, he was a producer, actor, whatever.
Mhm.
Well, he's their adopted son, so they don't actually have a bloodline. So I'm pretty up for taking the DNA test.
There you go.
Wow.
Or his name. I have these tablets, and then at a certain time the brain just sort of closed down a bit. There you go. Well, I'll tell you what, Shane is looking so well. He's looking well with his lot, isn't he? It doesn't seem that long since I've seen. Well, he brought his shotguns down here, but he just seems to be so content these days.
Well,
So
he's getting married. He should be.
Yeah, well, do you know, Sandro? She's a lovely girl, Emma. She's a lovely girl, and I'm so pleased. But I didn't think Shane was ever going to settle down. But there you go. Never say never.
We're live, Steve. Remember?
Oh well, I'm not saying anything derogatory. No,
I mean, I want you to be, saying things like we just had the Irishman in, so that we weren't seeming racial or anything.
Oh, I didn't know. Well, yeah. Well, you've got an open invitation there, Professor. Yeah. She's got lots of sisters. No, so I don't know. I think she might be the only one.
Okay, guys, I think I'm going to turn in. It's just about
son.
11 here.
It's 9 minutes to Sandro.
Great to see you. I just was scrolling through my list, and I was like, we need
I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the invitation, and it's great to see you, Steve, and Professor, and Ron. I see more regularly on our Wednesday Zooms, but this was a real treat. And if you guys decide to do it again, just throw out the email. If I'm around,
Sandro.
why not? It was great to see you.
Oh, mate, there's so much I'd like to speak to you about with music, and but that thing with Hendrix, please, if it might be abhorrent to you, but I don't think it would be. I think you'd be interested in the mood and the movement throughout it. It's almost an orchestral piece, and if you could take that and put it into a quartet, string quartet,
Yeah.
Oh crikey.
Well,
Yeah.
there are certain artists like Mr. Hendrix that are how shall we say, irrepeatable. They're one of a kind.
But it's 1983. The Moontide Turns. It's on the Electric Ladyland album, which came out in 1970, which was the year of his passing.
Yeah.
But
Let me ask you this before you leave. So, just curious, if you're sitting back and just enjoying a nice evening, what music would you listen to yourself?
So typically, if I'm by myself, I don't really listen to much music to relax. When I'm working or preparing things for students, then there's a lot of very intense listening. But if I want to hear a piece that I know, I don't really need a radio or a CD. I can just hear it in my head. Like if I want to, listen to an opera, a famous opera, Don Giovanni or Carmen or La Boheme or whatever, I can just basically play it. I've got my internal iPod, basically. But when I'm with guests, then I'll try to, choose music that I like, of course, but that also may stimulate them, from a musical point of view. But I also enjoy all kinds of music, not necessarily classical music. I listen to all different genres, and it's important, in my opinion, because we can always learn something. We can always learn something, and the minute you think you know it all, then I think you're quite dead as an artist. So that's basically the how that works out. But I do, I do regularly interact with music. Sometimes it's internally, and other times it will be at concerts, or maybe some of my friends will invite me to see them perform here and there and what have you. So, but it's thinking about music for most of my life makes internal listening almost automatic. And sometimes when I'm with friends or walking, I'm listening to something so intensely that I don't even realize it, but I'm singing. So if I'm walking with a friend or my partner, or, she would say, "You're getting embarrassing. You're singing a bit too loud." So, but yeah, it's a particular relationship. Let's say it's a very, very particular relationship. But,
now, do you have an instrument you're partial to yourself, or?
Well, I trained as a pianist. And I used to play. I don't actively play either. I trained as an oboist. I played the oboe, and I played a little viola at university. You had to basically play an instrument from each of the major groups, and I did some percussion as well. But yeah, professionally, I've only ever done some piano work. I prefer to give my music to very good players and then prepare them for actual performances. Yeah, that's how that usually works. And I during COVID, unfortunately, my spinal cord went through the ringer, and I've got 6 hernias. They're not so big, but I have 3 cervical ones and 2 lower ones. So spending a lot of time at the piano becomes very painful, to be honest. So yeah, but that's not, I can write at a table. I don't really need to be at the piano. So okay, gents, again,
Yeah, it's great to see you. So
great
glad
to
you're
see
able to
everybody.
join in with us.
Take care, Sandro. God bless.
All the best to everyone.
Yeah.
Ciao, ciao.
Lovely
God
to
bless.
see you.
Bye-bye.
Wow.
Good. We got quite a few folks in here.
Yeah.
I figured we were good for you, Ron, but I didn't know who else we would see. Ron's always good for dropping by.
Sandro saying about having to, through his learnings, to go through each part of the orchestra, wind instruments, string, percussion. I'd say, well, there's mine. A blues harp. Yeah. Back in the day.
Ron's probably got you probably got a mouth organ or two, don't you, Ron?
Oh, I never played I play the jaw harp.
Okay.
With my teeth, I'm just kind of leery about, that twangy thing that vibrating in between my teeth. Get a little leery about that.
Well, Professor, it's 10 o'clock here for me. I know it's 11 o'clock for Sandro, but I mean, I've got some duties to do before we turn in.
I'm about the same boat. I'm needing to take care of my dogs. They're getting a little antsy.
Well, I've had the door shut, so Molly's probably lying down outside waiting for me to go and take her out. So, Ron, great to see you, sir. So much. Yeah, it's like you've never been away. It is. It's like it is visiting old friends, isn't it? It's great.
Yeah.
And Professor, thanks for hosting this tonight. Been a privilege. And the editing on the what has become a pit helmet number 51, superb. Yeah.
And of course, we'll have our hopefully we'll have episode 52 out this next Friday. And I don't know, do we need to get together to discuss the 18 question?
The 18.
The A-team.
Oh, the A-team. Yes. Ron's contributed to that as well. It's a fascinating thing. Well,
you don't want to give it away here.
No. Well, you see, none of the answers are wrong. Every answer is correct because it's what you remember. That's what it's all about. But what the conclusion is could be quite startling. Or maybe not.
As well as a few other things that we'll have to bring up.
Maybe.
Yeah, and I think the van was bulletproof.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
But, their bullets never really hit anybody, No
one ever got killed, did they?
Yeah, it was that time period in the 80s when none of the shows were allowed to actually injure anyone. And that is why you might remember now they have it back out as a TV series, SWAT. But in the late 70s, there was the first time that SWAT TV show came out. And that is the reason why they were canceled. I think they did 2 seasons, maybe 1 or 2 seasons, and they were dropped, not because of viewership. They had record views, but it's because they said it was too graphic.
Wow.
And that's why they stopped the show. But, back then, none of these TV shows, really ever had people really wounded. And I think it was when they started the Equalizer with Ed Woodward, that's when they started kind of picking back up to where they were actually shooting folks again.
Yeah.
They just
Equalizer.
Duck.
That was my favorite show back in the day, was the Equalizer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shows that stick in my cranium was The Prisoner with Patrick McGowan, the series.
See, we didn't have that here. We've only been able to watch that and rerun.
Yeah.
But that didn't air in the States, I don't think. Not that I'm aware of.
I watched it when I was small. I remember seeing it.
Well, before that, there was a program called Danger Man, which was Patrick McGowan, and he was an agent, British agent type of thing. And it was fair to assume The Prisoner was a follow-on from that, as though it was the Danger Man now becoming the Prisoner. But apparently the two specifically were not linked as a storyline, but obviously had the common denominator with Patrick McGowan as the actor.
That's where I always felt like, I don't know if you ever watched many of the NCIS, but with the Dr. Ducky, I always thought they missed it, that they should have actually had that he was still the carryover from Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah.
Because I felt like in one of the episodes, they should have had him pull out a case that had the gun from Man from U.N.C.L.E. in it.
Well, I was a member of U.N.C.L.E. Yeah, because it was a lot. One of the newspapers you actually sent away, and I actually had a yellow card, and I had a definition, right? It was like a main agent or administration, but I was probably administration. But there you go. Yeah, back in the day. Of the American series that I enjoyed that sticks, with me is NYPD Blues. Is that right? What?
Yeah, I said get smart.
Oh, Get Smart. Yeah, I remember that. But no, NYPD Blues. Is that the correct title?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. I enjoyed that. It's like they were in a fortress, the police station, in the middle of mayhem. Yeah.
Oh, maybe are you thinking of Hill Street Blues? Maybe
There you go.
Hill
I knew it was
Street.
a blue in it,
Yeah,
but it had NYPD on the side of the cars, didn't it? I think.
because Hill Street Blues never said where they were. It was kind of ambiguous. It was like
All right.
maybe Chicago, maybe New York. They never would say like where they were. And the interesting thing was in the pilot episode, they pretty much kill off two characters that later became regulars in the series.
That was the one where the staff sergeant said, "Now be careful out there." That was his. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the same program.
Yeah, that's his catchphrase. And the SWAT commander, he's always smoking his pipe.
How things have changed.
Yeah.
Now there's
Oh,
one, I don't remember the name of, but it had the actor they called Fish, that he was one of the detectives.
Oh, that
Barney
was
Miller.
Barney Miller. Yeah. And those were great too. I mean, I started watching a few of the older Barney Millers not too long ago, since they're available on Amazon or Netflix, can't remember which one. And they would be very controversial today. I mean, they were slightly controversial then, but today, some of those episodes, I don't even think they'd let them air.
Right. Going back when I was a kid, we had American Air Force Base stopping at my grandmother's, and I was just preschool. But I remember, apart from Bilko, back, those series in the early days, but is it Love and Marriage? Who's the guy with the cigar? Say goodnight, Gracie. And oh,
George Burns.
that's
Yeah.
yeah. Was it Love and Marriage? Anyway, and then there's the other one, Lucille Ball. They were the sort of black and white I can remember back in the day.
George Burns was the Gracie and Allen show.
Yeah, but there's also Desi Arnaz.
I mean, Burns and Gracie and Allen. Her name. Well, anyway, I'm running her name. George Burns and Gracie Allen. I think.
Yeah, say goodnight, Gracie. Always finish with this. Well, I only read about it. No, but I do remember those days because the people of, the staff, from the US Air Force, that was some of their favorite programs, I used to sit down with their family watching the television. Yeah. Happy days.
Some of these things I know because Saturday nights late and Sunday evenings late, one of the radio stations would play old radio programs, and I loved listening to them. I don't know, it just drew me in. And I had an old Holocrafter shortwave radio, and that's what I would listen to a lot of these things on. And I'll listen the Holocrafter. I mean, I could reach Australia with the antenna I had. Pretty much, if you could reach Alice Station, you had the whole world. And I would sit there and tune in my old Holocrafter and listen to radio stations all around the world. And, I loved, listening to different music and people around. And I guess that's what, put an early, passion for me, even being overseas.
Yeah, the wanderlust.
Yeah.
Professor, I'm going to have to go.
Ron already left us.
Yeah, but I'm seriously, oh crikey, it's gone 10 o'clock now, it's 10 past. I'm going to have to go. Thank you again for your hospitality. a great fellowship. Really loved it. I don't know. There might have been a few still watching on the side. I don't know if we got everyone into the room.
We've got 8 people. That's
Oh,
I guess we're
seriously?
one of them. But
All right. Well, good night, all, and thanks for your company. Bye for now.
enjoy. I'll touch base with you later in the week if we want to catch up for anything with episode 52.
Okie dokie, Skip. You just take the initiative. I'll probably be around somewhere. Okay. Take
All
care.
right.
Have a good weekend.
I'll see you later. And
Bye.
Ron, I hate to just leave him. Ron, I think I'm gonna have to leave you here. I've got dogs. Oh, he's coming back. Are you around?
Yeah.
My dogs are getting antsy. You can see Trooper in the background there. So they're needing to go out, but it's great to have you drop in. Next time I'll try to give you a little bit earlier of a warning.
Yeah,
So,
I just found out about this by accident.
Yeah, well, I sent out a few messages and just thought maybe a few people would stumble across their emails and so.
I'm glad I found you.
And Steve and I keep talking about you all the time, so we knew we need to get you to drop in.
Have you ever seen YTPC Theater?
I'm not sure if I have.
You ought to. He said Mike and the Brigadier would be a great guest.
Okay, well, I'll check it out for sure.
He has puppets.
Okay.
Yeah. He looks just, it said he's almost like a puppet version of Major McBragg.
Oh, wow. Well, definitely have to check him out then.
And I think he'd been in India.
Wait, I think we've only got one episode of McBragg left that we had never shown. We might have to.
I thought we'd seen them all.
We might need somebody else to step up and help us out. So
yeah, so you get hold of Cliff, and him and Cliff and Mike have worked together.
Okay. Well, all right, everybody. Anybody still watching? God bless you. I can't imagine watching this. We just are sitting here rambling. But anyway, enjoyed the visit, Ron. Glad you could jump in with us. And anybody else, glad you were able to stop in.
Oh, you mean there have been others?
We're still live.